What's up? Yo, welcome to the show, live from Dennis's house, the only show of its kind in the entire world. I told Larry I was going to do that "What's up" intro, but I didn't really think I was going to, but I did. And that never gets old, does it? You know, we could listen to that ever. That was a good commercial, though. But anyway, here we're going to have a good show today. We are doing Todd Rundgren. Here, actually, you hold this up, Larry. That's the guest's job. Todd Rundgren, Something Anything, released in 1972. And we're going to be performing I Saw the Light off of this, me and Larry. And
here right now.
Yeah, this is playing in the background there. And I think it's a little too loud. Lower this. I can't reach it. Just lower it here. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to review Something Anything by Todd Rundgren. We're going to play the song. And my guest today is Larry Fix. Say hello, Larry.
Hello, Larry. Greatest television show ever, by the way.
Yeah, starring McLean Stevenson.
Yes.
Very good. All right, so I've been getting complaints that I haven't been smelling the record lately, but I think the last few records were new. That's why I didn't do it.
This one looks particularly smelly.
Yeah, look at that. It's all.
Where's my inhaler?
Don't put it away. We're gonna need that one.
Okay.
So yes, we're doing Todd Rundgren, Something Anything. This is a classic album, a great album, and it's a double album. Look at all this stuff, a lot of pictures inside, a lot of stuff here, and I believe, Larry, am I correct when I say that Todd Rundgren is your favorite artist?
Well, he's way up there. Yeah, I'd put him in the top 5.
You wouldn't say number 1 though?
I can't really say anyone number 1. It changes from time to time.
Nah, for me it doesn't. Ask me what my number 1 is.
Stones.
See, you don't even have to ask. Hasn't changed since I was 4, and here we are, some 40 years later, some 45 years later, Larry.
Impressive.
Yeah, so anyway, Todd Rundgren is a musical genius. He is a production genius. Let me lower this here. That song is so good, but I'm going to lower it here.
Okay.
I love that song. That he's a musical genius. He's produced pretty much everybody in the world, right? Over the years, he's a sought-after producer, and he can play pretty much every instrument. And he's a great singer, songwriter, and I can understand why he's one of your favorite, Larry. He's not in my top 10 even, but he may be in my second 10. I'm not sure.
Well, maybe he can move up. Do any of them ever change? Or
those can change,
okay.
yeah. But the top 4 can never change.
Top 4.
Yeah, everybody knows the top 4. Can you name my top 4?
In order?
No. All right, sure. Try and do it. I think you can.
Beatles.
Well, Rolling Stones number 1, right?
Yes.
All right, number 2, Beatles. Yes. Number 3.
Marilyn Manson.
No, it's the top 4. It should be pretty much everybody's top 4.
Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Not the Who.
Yes, the Who. That's it. That's how it goes. That's it. It's always, since I was 4, those have been my top 4. And then, it comes and goes. And, the rest, everything else after that, different phases. It's the Ramones and the punk and all this kind of stuff.
How about Bruce? Where's Bruce on your list?
He might be in the top 10 or the second top 10. I might have to do this. I have to, when next time you come back, Larry, we're going to do our top whatever show, and we're going to name all our artists in an order, and we're going to do top 10 songs, top 10 artists, top 10 everything.
Okay.
All right? You'll be looking forward to that, won't you?
I will be.
So I want to lower this volume here, Larry. You're a little too loud. You're concerning me. The meters are going into the red here. So all right. So I lost track of the whole show, Larry. We're in anarchy already. But anyway, this album was released, like I said, in 1972. When I was we were both mere children, Larry, when this came out. So tell me about your love of Todd Rundgren, how this came about. When did you get into it? Before this album came out, or after this, or what?
It was after. It was more through friends who I played in bands with, who were more familiar with him I guess it was the late 70s when I let's see. mid 70s, I would say.
All right, because this was 72. This was his best-selling album of all time.
It went gold.
Yes, at least.
And I think it might be the only one. But yeah, he's always been ahead of his time. You know,
he
a lot
absolutely
of experimental
was.
stuff. On this album, you mentioned he plays plays every instrument. On 3 sides of the 4, he plays everything.
Okay. See, and I understand why he does this, because I even heard why he did that. He said because all these other musicians are a big pain in the ass, and I don't want to deal with them. I just want to do it all myself, and then I won't have any problems. So.
Well, that's funny, because I think some of the other musicians might think the same. So he produced XTC's Skylarking, I think it was called, the album.
Okay.
And they hated him after.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was he like a Phil Spector or what?
I don't know. I think he was pretty controlling, and he wanted them to leave off what became the biggest hit for them from that album. I think it was
really?
Dear God. Do you remember?
Oh,
that?
yeah, I know that
and
song.
I think he didn't want to put it on, and then they, they did it anyway, and it turned out to be good for them. So.
Yeah, so. And then you must have seen him a lot of times over the years as well, right? In concert?
Yeah, I've seen him a number of times.
Isn't he very erratic, and doesn't he do like weird things and like turns his back on the audience or plays behind a sheet or something? Was that him?
I've seen him do a few weird things. I saw him years ago at the old Club Benet. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
And for that one, he was, and that had to be early 90s, and he was experimenting, with computers, and he played barefoot, he played solo, but he had his band in a box. It was all computerized, so they were all on a screen, and he had a camera pointed at his bare foot, and it would just translate into weird colors on the screen. It would distort his foot on one of the screens. It was out there. Yeah.
There you go. I'm just messing around with this button here for a second, but yes, I've never seen Todd Rundgren in concert. He's one of the few. I'm gonna have to make a list of all the concerts I've went to and what I've not seen yet, who's on my bucket list. And I believe Todd is. I even asked you. He's coming around. I asked you to go, and
but
you
he's
said,
way up
"Screw you."
He was way up in New York.
No, it was in New Jersey.
Oh, Newton. That's right, Newton, New Jersey.
Wherever that is, I don't even know.
That's pretty far up there.
Yeah, it sounds pretty.
But
far.
he's touring with the Ringo Stars.
Oh, okay.
Stars. So you can catch him. Well, you probably can't because I think he's sold out.
Yeah.
He's going to be at Count Basie.
I would like to see that. Does he do his hits along with Ringo?
I think he does do a couple of it. I've never seen him with. I've never seen the Ringo Starr band before, but I thought it would be fun to.
Yeah, I would like to see that too. So, I gotta smell this again. It's been a while since I smelled things. Smelled albums. Sorry. So, do you know what famous rock star said this is their favorite album of all time?
I do not.
Axl Rose.
Really?
Yes. So you're in good company, Larry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Axl.
You and Axl.
We like a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
Tattoos.
Let me put a little more of that on since it sounds so good. I'll lower it, put it in the background, but that this stuff always reminds me of like being a child. That's why I love listening to it. Like in the spring, like today. Oh, and you notice I do not have my red velvet jacket on today, my smoking jacket, Larry, because today's the first day of summer in our minds. It's been the first time the sun has come out, and it's been warm and nice since I think October.
You're gonna have to get a short sleeve.
Yeah,
smoking
I was
jacket.
thinking how I could do that, or some sort of smoking vest. Do they have such things? So anyway, I got my Cabana wear on today. I have my culottes, and Larry had his tube top on before, but I made him take it off.
With the Daisy Dukes, yes.
It was too distracting. Yes. So he also let's talk a little bit about him. If you would like to talk about Todd, since you are the expert, I give you free reign.
Well, I've got a few notes here.
Go ahead. Tell me whatever you know about.
I see you have one of the same, but. Do you know that Todd Rundgren's son, Rex, was a minor league baseball player for the Bridgewater, the Raritan Patriots, or whoever Somerset Patriots?
Oh, really? I didn't know he was on Somerset.
Yeah.
I did hear he was a minor leaguer, though.
Yeah, he played. I don't think he plays anymore.
Yeah.
He had 12 years of minor league, I guess.
That's it.
It might be time.
They throw you out.
He had another son, Randy, who was drafted by a major league team, but I don't think he ever played, never made it to the majors.
That's shocking.
And he has a new son with So those are fairly normal names, right? Well, Rex and Randy, and
Yeah,
now with his newest wife, he's got a son named Rebop. I don't know what he does.
Is it rebar? Is he in the construction industry?
Yeah, he's a big steel man. But I see you were going to mention something about B.B. Buell.
Yes. Go ahead. You tell the whole B.B. Buell story.
It's a great story. How he was living with B.B. Buell, this storied groupie of many rock bands, and that was in the 70s also. And for a while, I guess she ran off and had a little fling with Steve Tyler, which resulted in Liv Tyler.
Yes.
And for the first, I think she was 9 when she found out. She thought she was Todd Rundgren's daughter for the first 9 years until I guess somebody let the cat out of the bag.
They broke it to her, yeah. And you know why BB did that? She said that Steven's not fit, you know, because he was such a drug addict. She said, I'm not gonna tell her, keep her away. You know, that seems wrong.
It does.
Some crazy lifestyle they were leading back then. Yeah.
And then you mentioned his production stuff. So he produced albums for Badfinger, the band, XTC I mentioned, Bat Out of Hell, the Meatloaf album.
You did that. That's a classic.
New York Dolls, you mentioned that a couple of weeks ago on your show. Patti Smith, Grand Funk, Cheap Trick, The Tubes, Sean Cassidy, your favorite.
Did Do Run Run Run? Did he do that?
I don't know.
That's one of my favorites.
And the Psychedelic Furs.
Funny you should say that, Larry.
I noticed that.
Bam! There's David Cassidy right there from Jack's Music, Larry. $1.99. I purchased this last week.
You just got it now?
Yes, I just bought it. Because, funny I say that, I'm setting it up. I'm doing a Partridge Family David Cassidy episode.
Nice.
I know it. It's going to be awesome. So go ahead. Who else? I digress.
That's it. Psychedelic Furs was the last one.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Love Psychedelic Furs.
Another piece of Todd trivia, his song Time Heals was the 8th video ever played on MTV.
Oh, really?
When they first started.
Right after the first one was Buggles.
Yes.
The video killed the radio star.
Yeah.
And the second one, see, I'm going to name these, Larry, in order. The second one was She's a Beauty by the Tubes, who you just mentioned. Third was Beat It by Michael Jackson. Fourth was True Colors by, what's her name? Cyndi Lauper. 5 was Psychedelic Furs. What's that song? The big song, Pretty in Pink. 6 was, I think it was the English Beat. 7 was Bananarama. And 8 was Todd Rundgren.
Holy cow. That's pretty good. Good research.
And I made up every single one of those, Larry. Now, one of those are true. Only number 1 is true. But that was pretty good. See how I can just do that off the top of my head? Yes, I did. I made those all up. But the only one I knew was number 1, was the Buggles. The rest seem realistic, right? You know, see how I can zero in on that era and just make up lies on the spur of the moment.
That's a great quality to have.
So
now the probably the most interesting piece of trivia I have is that my sister Susan Fix is pictured on the back of the album Todd.
Move it up, lift it up.
There we go.
Is that her?
So it's hard to see her, but
move
she's
it in. Lift it up and move it up. Lift it up a little bit more.
There
wow,
she is.
Is that her?
She and her
That's on the album?
Yep, on the back cover.
That is so cool.
Yep. So she's famous.
What album is that?
It's just called Todd.
Oh, it's just called Todd?
Yep.
What songs are on there?
It's got Heavy Metal Kids. It's one of my favorite.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
That's a great one.
Oh, wow. Drunken Blue Rooster is on there? Nice.
King Kong Reggae.
I'm going to have to check that out now. Wow. So where was that picture taken?
You know, I forgot to ask her that.
Oh, really?
Somewhere in New Jersey, though.
Oh, cool.
Probably in northern New Jersey.
That's pretty cool. So, and what else you got there? What else have you been up to?
Well, he's done a lot of stuff. He in 2005, he joined the New Cars. Do you remember that?
I do. I recall that.
Rick Ocasek wasn't up for it, so Todd...
Didn't he die? Oh no,
Did he?
there was another guy in the band died. It wasn't Rick Ocasek.
Okay. But they did put out one album, which I had, and it was just
Oh, yeah.
a remake of a lot of their songs.
All the other Cars songs.
Yeah, it was just with Todd singing it. So Rick Ocasek.
Wow.
Then he did some weird things. He went through a phase. He called himself TRI, Todd Rundgren Interactive, and he put out albums. He was always into the technology thing, and he put out albums where you could interact with a little bit. I think I never had one. I never did this, but I think you could change the tempo or pick parts of the song. I'm not sure, and kind of.
Actually, this one is interactive too. It's a scratch and sniff, Larry. He was way ahead of his time.
He was. And then he did an album of, I think it was bossa nova style. So it's all of his hits.
His hits in the bossa nova.
But he did it, yeah. It was
He's
really,
playing like one of those like organs that you used to see in the mall in the
he did
70s.
some ukulele stuff. In fact, his big song, what's his big song that people don't know that it's his?
Bang on the drum.
That's the one, yeah. They played it
Oh, really? People don't know that that's his?
I think a lot of people don't know. Played at every baseball stadium.
Yeah.
And, apparently the Packers play it after every touchdown.
Wow.
Or whatever. So
You get royalties for that?
I
would imagine so.
I hope so. But on this album called With a Twist, he does a version of it with a ukulele.
Oh, really?
Which is way different.
Because he was on one of my favorite episodes of Live from Daryl's house. They actually went to his house in Hawaii, and they were playing. They might have been doing that a little bit with ukulele, and they had a Hawaiian dancer doing the hula out in the backyard. I was like,
those guys are great together. We're both the Philadelphia boys.
Yes, that's what I wanted. I was hoping you would touch on that. He's from Philly,
right, and
all that soul stuff. So don't let me interrupt you, Larry. Keep going.
Well, I think that about runs. I did read in Wikipedia that he did some tour with a string quartet called Ethel, and I only bring that up because on Friday night, my beautiful wife and I went to Monmouth University to see a guitar player named Kaki King. Have you heard of her?
No.
Very avant-garde, a little weird, but a great player. But she was performing with
a girl.
Yes, she was performing with this string quartet called Ethel, and it wasn't so good. it was way out there, and it was. There were about 75 people in a 400-seat auditorium. Yeah, it was a little
75 too many, if you ask me.
Couldn't walk out because they would have noticed.
Excuse me, Larry. Where you going?
So I was amazed when I read that Todd played with Ethel.
Wow. So what was your wife saying? Your wife must have been yelling at you, Larry. What'd you drag me to again?
No, and I did drag her too because she was a fill-in at the last moment. So she was nice enough to go.
Oh, that's funny. So. All right, so we're trying to keep the show on schedule here, so I don't want to run too long. So we got our musical number, and I want to hold the whole thing to 30 minutes, Larry. You think that's possible?
Okay.
And I got a lot of news to report on.
Okay.
And
I'm a little worried about that.
I would like to play Hello, It's Me. Can you tell me where's Hello, It's Me?
Where
Hopefully
the hell is it me?
On side 2 here.
It's not printed on the album anywhere.
Doesn't look like it's in here. Put that in there. Give me the next one while I move on. So, certain things I want to discuss. I'd like to report on people that died. You know how I like to do that, Larry.
Number 3.
Number 3 on this side? All right, we're going to do Hello, It's Me while I report on people who died. This is what these people who died are going to be saying to Jesus. Hello, it's me.
They hope.
Yeah. A lot of nonsense on here, too. Like this.
Yeah. Experimental.
Listen to that. That is awesome. I love this song. This and I Saw the Light are 2 classics, Larry. This album is so worth it just for those 2 songs. So anyway, let's play a little of that. So, as you may have heard, Mickey Rooney passed away this week. You ever hear of Mickey Rooney?
Yeah.
He was a famous actor in the 1800s, I believe.
We went to school together.
Yes. So, yes, he was very old. He was in his 90s. But everybody knows Mickey Rooney, the shortest man in the world, I think, wasn't his title at one point. And he played Andy Hardy in the movies, in the Hardy Boys. Never once have I seen a Hardy Boy movie. Have you?
I think I have.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you enjoy it? What's the title?
It was the best.
Who are you with?
Hardy Boys meet Frankenstein and the Wolfman.
You've never seen a Hardy Boy movie. Nobody has. So, yeah, so then he was, I think, was he married to Judy Garland? He did a lot of movies with her.
He was married to
8 times. What's wrong with him? That is sick stuff. These people.
Show. There's 8 people for everyone.
Really? You know, it's like crazy. And then now there's controversy about this too. Did you hear that about his will? He only had $18,000 left in his estate. So, with 8 wives, you have to wonder, right? You know.
Well, that gives him a little over $2,000 apiece. They should be happy.
But he left everything to his last son or stepson because he had problems with his last wives and stepsons and stuff that he accused them of elder abuse and all this kind of stuff. So they're all, you know, whatever. They're estranged. So who knows? Did you ever abuse the elderly, Larry? That you can recall?
Not that I can recall. Not in their presence.
Okay. And then, who else died? Peaches Geldof passed away. It's very sad. Her name's Peaches, that's why it's funny. But she was only 25, and she is the daughter of Bob Geldof. As you know, from Boomtown Rats and Live Aid, and very famous guy, singer, and band, I Don't Like Mondays. And I'm not sure what happened. It's probably drugs. Whenever anybody dies at 25, it's usually drugs.
Yeah, I think she had prior history or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, yeah, this whole thing. Because I got to tell you a little story about them, though. It's because her mother was Paula Yates, who was some actress in London or something. And she had an affair, just like B.B. Boyle, whatever her name is, Todd Rundgren. Paula Yates had an affair with Michael Hutchence from In Excess. Remember him?
Yeah.
Yes. So they had a kid, and they named her Tiger Lily. And the other kids that this woman had with Bob Geldof were Fifi, Trixie Belle, Pixie, and Tiger Lily. So there's a lot of nonsense going on there.
Wow.
And the mom died of a heroin overdose also. And we know what happened to Michael Hutchence from In Excess. You remember that? He died at a young age, too. It's a ridiculous way from what they say was autoerotic asphyxiation.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I'm sure you're aware of that. You're a big fan of that, Larry.
Yeah, big fan. And now Todd Rundgren is the father now for all of these children? Is that,
Todd Rundgren's adopted everybody. Anyone that dies, Todd Rundgren adopts their kids.
Until Steve Tyler sobers up. And, he can pay them.
Yeah, so... Yeah, so I can't believe you're laughing at people's deaths, Larry. It's very shocking of you. And the last person I have to report on that died was John Panette. You know who he was? He was a comedian, a big fat comedian. But the reason why I say that is because his funniest skit that he ever had was based upon his size. That he went to a Chinese buffet, and that he was, you know, how you free buffet, all you can eat and stuff, and he would be eating so much, and that he said the Chinese owner of the store came over to him, and he said, "You go now, you here 4 hours, you go, you eat me out of house and home." So, I thought that was one funny skit. So, all right, other things I want to talk about is people who do stupid... All right, you know, this is the show of embracing and inclusion. But sometimes people annoy me and I have to call them out on it, Larry, you know? That people who do dangerous things, then they get in trouble, then they call and say, oh, we need help. You know, for example, what just happened here this last week or so, these people go in the middle of the ocean on a sailboat with their 1-year-old child. Their child gets sick, they got to call the Coast Guard, they got to fly him in and all this kind of stuff, and me and you have to foot the bill, Larry. So I think going forward, they should charge people who do anything stupid like that. What are you doing in the middle of the ocean with a 1-year-old child? I wouldn't even go on a plane with my kids till they were 10 because they were such a pain in the ass. So there's no way I'm going on a sailboat in the middle of the ocean. There's nothing to see. What's to see underwater,
and what
Larry?
were they doing? They were going to cross the ocean? Was that
I don't know. Maybe were they going
idea.
to look for the Chinese plane or something?
Maybe.
I don't know. But it's the same thing. These people...
Malaysia.
Yes, when they get back here, I would like to slap them right across the face, each one of them.
Not the kid.
Not the kid. It's not the kid's fault. The kid was dragged. The kid didn't want to go in the middle of the ocean on a stupid boat. And then the same thing, what I really enjoy is when people mess around with wild animals and they get eaten by them or attacked or something like that. Just, what you expect is going to happen. You're going to poke a polar bear with a stick or try to take a picture with it. It's going to maul you and eat you. So don't be surprised. If you go live in the jungle with gorillas, if you live in the mist with gorillas, Larry, you know what's going to happen to you? The gorillas are going to eat you. So just behave yourself and don't do anything stupid, and you don't have things to worry about, Larry. I don't understand.
Make a note of that.
You better write that down.
Don't befriend wild animals. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, there was another death that I forgot to mention.
Rough week.
The Ultimate Warrior. He's some sort of wrestler or something. This was just hot off the presses, so I don't even know who this guy is. I don't follow wrestling, but have you ever heard of him?
I've heard of him, and just on the way over here, I heard somebody call in to Mike Francesa on the fan, and they said, "Mike, what do you think about the Ultimate Warrior dying?" And he said, "I don't pay attention to that." and he hung up.
I don't pay attention to that.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh,
he wasn't
great.
interested.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I that's the thing. I don't understand wrestling. I really don't. There was some news story about it recently that it was a shocking upset. Some wrestler won that beat the other guy, and it was a shocking upset that this guy lost. And they showed the crowd, and they were making fun of it because these are grown men. They were weeping. The grown men just like, oh, how could this happen? And they were so visibly upset. And I was like, this is so ridiculous. Everybody knows this is not real.
Ever since, Bruno Sammartino
Yes.
and Haystacks Calhoun.
Chief J. Strongbow was one of my favorites. And, of course, the legend Andre the Giant.
Andre,
See,
yes.
that was when wrestling was good. And Rio.
It was real. Yeah. See, when wrestlers came out wearing headdresses, now that's believable.
Yeah. And why you got to wear those? All right, that's another thing that annoys the F out of me, Larry. Bicyclists that are on 2-lane roads, and they're like, there's 4 of them, and they can't go single file. God knows they have to go in a pack. So then I have to go on the other side of the road and risk my life because of these morons. And they're wearing those spandex shorts like they're in the Tour de France, that the littlest wind resistance is going to slow them down, that God forbid if they wear cargo shorts, the whole day is ruined. Instead, they got to look like morons wearing spandex. So, if anyone's riding a bike out there, single file, stay to the right. Keep moving.
On the shoulder. Yeah.
Exactly. So, all right, I'm all worked up now, Larry. I got so much to report on. I'm never going to make my 30-minute thing here. So, what else? I'm going to bust through these things. All right. There was this doctor in Syracuse, upstate New York, Syracuse, New York. He was a surgeon. And that once the people were under anesthesia, he would slap their buttocks and ridicule them.
While they were out?
They were out. They were unconscious. But he was like joking around, I guess, with the other surgeons. And it's like, hey, fatty, how's it going over there? You under the anesthesia? You ready for this hip replacement? And you smelly SOB. He would insult them and degrade them while they were out. So he's in big trouble for that.
How did he get caught?
I guess someone woke up when they slapped him or something. I don't know. Somebody reported him or something. But my next story. Have you ever tried a cronut?
I have not. I just heard of them recently.
Yes, I've been hearing about these cronuts, and I would love to try a cronut. It's part donut, part croissant. And you can only get them at one place in New York City, and you got to be online like 6 a.m. You wait there all day, like 2 hours online just to get 2, and a limit of 2 and stuff. So I'm never going to do that. So, but the reason why they're in the news is because they were shut down for a few days because they were mice. They were infested with mice in that bakery. So they just reopened. And I was thinking, like people saying, oh, who would go back to that? And I would say that's the only time that you can be sure there's no mice because they just gave them the clean bill of health. You go next week, they'll be loaded with mice again.
So tell me, are you off the scones?
No, I love scones, yes. Larry used to comment on, we used to work together back in the day, and you want to tell the story?
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. Before I really knew you, before we worked together, Dennis was a little imposing figure. He'd be riding on his motorcycle to work with his leather pants, no helmet, and hair blown in the breeze, and sleeveless shirt in 30-degree weather. But so he had this tough guy image, and then we started working together. And at some time after lunch, we'd go to this little store in the building and get candy or whatever. And Dennis would come back with a cup of tea and some Lorna Doone cookies. You like an old lady.
That is so funny. That is so funny. Yes, because I loved Lorna Doones and social tea cracked cookies from my grandmother. When I was a kid, I would have that, and to this day, I love a short cookie, Larry, and you do make them short. So yes, and you mentioned I do like scones as well with my tea. Yeah. Now I don't really drink tea as much. I used to drink tea back then. Now I'm coffee. I drink coffee all day and night, so I'm off that. But I do. So what else? Oh God, the next story. In New York City, women earn 82 cents on average for every dollar a man makes. Now, at first glance, you'd say, "All right, that's wrong, Larry." Right? You might say that.
Yeah, that's wrong.
But when you think about it, I heard a comedian talking about it, and that it makes sense. You know why men deserve that extra 18 cents, Larry? Just think back. The one reason why, it's a couple reasons, but the main reason is because of the Titanic. That what happened when the Titanic was sinking? Who gets on the boat first? Women and children. Exactly. Men got to stay on the boat and drown. So for that reason right there, we deserve the extra 18 cents. There's some noise in the middle of the night. Does your wife get up and risk her life? No, you go. You got to shovel the snow? Who's shoveling the snow? That's it. Men die 20 years younger, so we deserve 18 cents more. No, actually, it's a known fact. We die 18 years younger, so it's correlated perfectly. We get 18 cents more, but we die 18 years younger. So it all evens out in the end.
Don't they need the extra 18 cents to survive when we're not around?
No, that's what insurance is for. They live they live on the high on the hog after they get all their insurance money, So, and then what else? Oh, Al Sharpton is in the news again. That he is reportedly he was a mob snitch. He was a rat back in the day, and he was had a wire, and he was undercover and all this. And he's saying, "Oh, I was not in cahoots. I was a reverend. I'm not a crook." But he said, "I was in the music business, so I had to deal with them and all this kind of stuff." And it's just he is so shady. It's ridiculous. But the thing that I do miss, though, I was looking at these old pictures, and I saw Al back in the day when he had his giant bouffant and he was all heavy and stuff. And I loved that Al. Now he's lost all this weight, but he hasn't worked out, so now he looks like a Shar-Pei puppy or a loose meat sandwich or something like that. But I prefer the old heavy Al with the bouffant. So, all right. So my final news story that I have to get to, Larry, is that this woman in Florida. All my stories are in Florida.
Right, wait,
a lot of stories.
She didn't cut anything.
What?
Go ahead. I'm just the theme.
No.
Okay.
She did. There was no
mutilation.
No mutilation involved in this. Well, but however you want to describe it. But anyway, this woman, Patricia Ann Jameson, that she was caught on a security camera in the courthouse in Florida, and she was caught defecating in the elevator. She was in the courthouse going up to be tried for something, and she felt the need to go defecate in the elevator on the way up. And she was caught on the cam, so then she was charged with the actual thing right here, Larry. The statute in Florida says she was charged with being a filthy animal. It's punishable by 14 years in prison. So that's that. I got through all my news story, Larry. Let's hear some more Todd.
All right.
So what else you got to say?
I'm done.
No, you gotta have something. Bring the album back up. Let's get the album.
What do you do with it?
There it is.
It's beautiful, beautiful artwork.
Yes, there's a lot of good stuff in here, and let's review this album now, Larry. This is a great, great album. Everyone should own it. Just for those two songs on there. Hello, It's Me and I Saw the Light. Amazing, amazing songs. Everyone knows them. The classic of the classics. And there's a lot of good stuff on here. Todd is a musical genius, so I recommend this album highly. Todd's a great artist. It's a great album. What do you say, Larry?
Buy it.
Yes?
Yeah.
What else? You got anything else you want to talk about before we go?
I don't think so.
So yes, we're
Run
going
the gamut.
to be performing "I Saw the Light." We're going to do a very nice version. Larry sings very well. I was going to say like an angel, but he doesn't like when I call him that. So, all right, man. That's it. We almost kept to the time limit. We just went a little over. So, all right. Live from Dennis's house, Todd Rundgren. I got a lot of big stuff coming up next week. Should I discuss it, Larry, now? Or I might put the jinx and the kibosh on it. But I got 2 shows I got to record next week. And one of them is the legendary Bernard Pretty Purdy, who's the legendary drummer who's played with everybody from Steely Dan to Aretha Franklin to James Brown and etc. So it's going to be a very special show.
Where are the drums going in here?
They're going in the other room. We're going to do it.
Cool.
So, all right. Thanks for being on the show, Larry.
Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you on. You've been on the show before, but we've never had the whole segment just for Larry. So
what an honor.
We hardly got to talk about any of your stuff, though. You're going to have to come back again, Larry. And tell your stories. You always got good stories. But you usually clam up when you come on the air.
I do.
So this was good.
Inappropriate.
This was a good way into it. Next time you'll come on and tell all your stories, and it'll be awesome. All right. See you next week. I Saw the Light coming up next. I Saw the Light by Larry and Dennis.
1, 2, 3. It was late last night. I was feeling something wasn't right. There was not another soul in sight. Only you, only you. So we walked along, though I knew there was something wrong. And the feeling hit me oh so strong about you. Then you gazed up at me, and the answer was plain to see. 'Cause I saw the light in your eyes, in your eyes. Though we had our fling, I just never would suspect a thing, till that little bell began to ring in my head, in my head. But I tried to run, though I knew it wouldn't help me none. 'Cause I could never love no one, or so I said. But my feelings for you were just something I never knew, till I saw the light in your eyes, in your something that I say in jest, 'cause you're different, girl, from all the rest. In my eyes